The complete transcript, Napoleon Hill, the definite purpose that changes lives. There exists within the human experience a principle so fundamental, so powerful, and so transformative that its absence guarantees mediocrity, while its presence virtually assures success in any endeavor a person undertakes. Napoleon Hill called this principle the definite purpose, and through decades of research, interviews with hundreds of successful individuals, and examination of countless lives, both successful and unsuccessful, Hill discovered that this principle represents perhaps the single most important factor, distinguishing those who achieve remarkable success from those who remain trapped. The definite purpose is not a mystical concept or a vague spiritual idea. It is a practical principle based on how the human mind actually functions and how human beings actually achieve objectives in the physical world. Yet, despite its fundamental importance and despite Hill's tireless efforts to teach this principle to anyone who would listen, the vast majority of people go through their entire lives without ever establishing a definite purpose. They drift from day to day, responding to circumstances as they arise, pursuing whatever opportunity happens to present itself, following the suggestions of others about what they should do with their lives. These individuals often experience a vague sense of dissatisfaction and incompleteness, a nagging feeling that their lives could have been more meaningful or more successful. But they cannot articulate why they feel this way or what could be different. The reason is that they have never established a definite purpose. To understand what Hill meant by definite purpose, it is important to understand how this concept differs from related ideas like goals, objectives, or desires. A person might have many goals. A person might desire to travel, to earn money, to develop skills, to build relationships. These individual goals are valuable and can contribute to a successful life. However, a definite purpose is something different. A definite purpose is an overarching vision for one's life, a clear, compelling direction that integrates many individual goals and desires into a unified whole. A definite purpose provides the framework through which a person evaluates all their other goals and decisions. When a person has established a definite purpose, they can ask of any goal or opportunity, does this support my definite purpose, or does it distract from it? Does this move me toward the life I have committed to creating, or does it move me away from it? Without a definite purpose, a person has no such evaluative framework. They evaluate opportunities and goals based on short-term gains, on what seems easiest or most pleasant at the moment, or on what others suggest they should do. Hill taught that a definite purpose must be specific and clearly articulated. Vague aspirations like I want to be successful or I want to have a good life do not constitute a definite purpose. Instead, a definite purpose answers fundamental questions about the life you intend to create. What kind of work will I do? What impact do I want to have in the world? What kind of person do I intend to become? What values are most important to me? What legacy do I want to leave? How do I want to spend my time? Who do I want to spend it with? A person with a definite purpose can describe their vision for their life in clear, specific terms. They can articulate why this vision is important to them. They can explain how they intend to move toward this vision. This clarity is not something that emerges accidentally. It is something that must be consciously developed through deep reflection and deliberate commitment. The process of establishing a definite purpose begins with what Hill called self-examination, a deep, honest assessment of who you are, what you value, what brings you fulfillment, and what you believe your life is meant to accomplish. This self-examination is not a casual reflection that takes place in a few minutes. Rather, it is a sustained process that might involve journaling, meditation, conversation with trusted mentors or counselors, and extended periods of quiet reflection. During this process, a person should ask themselves fundamental questions. What activities make me lose track of time because I am so engaged? What problems in the world trouble me most deeply? What would I do with my life if I knew I could not fail? What would I regret not attempting if I reached the end of my life? What kind of impact do I want to have? These questions are designed to move past the surface level desires that are often shaped by cultural expectations or others' opinions, and to uncover the deeper, authentic desires that emerge from one's true self. Hill emphasized that this self-examination must be brutally honest. Many people deceive themselves about what they truly want, accepting instead what they believe they should want or what they think is realistic. A person might tell themselves, I want to work in finance because it pays well, when in truth, what they really want is to work in environmental conservation. They have suppressed their authentic desire because they believe environmental conservation is not practical or does not pay well enough. However, this self-deception creates problems. When a person pursues a definite purpose that does not align with their authentic values and desires, they will struggle to maintain commitment to that purpose. When obstacles arise, and obstacles always arise, a person pursuing an inauthentic purpose will be tempted to abandon the pursuit. However, a person pursuing a purpose that aligns with their authentic values and desires will find the motivation to persist through obstacles because they are pursuing something they genuinely care about. Once a person has engaged in honest self-examination and has identified what they truly want their life to be about, the next step is to articulate this vision in clear, specific. Hill recommended that a person write out their definite purpose in a statement that could be read and understood by anyone. This written statement should describe the overall direction of one's life. The statement should be specific enough to provide clear direction, but broad enough to encompass the many different goals and activities that will support this larger purpose. Hill taught that the definite purpose should be written down and then read aloud to oneself regularly, ideally twice daily, in the morning and evening. The purpose of this regular reading is to keep the definite purpose constantly present in one's consciousness. In modern life, with its endless demands and distractions, a person's attention can easily be pulled in many different directions. Without the anchor of a definite purpose that is regularly reinforced, a person can drift for weeks or months without making progress toward the larger vision they have established for their life. However, by reading their definite purpose regularly, a person keeps this vision alive in their mind. They are constantly reminded of what they are working toward and why. This constant reminder influences all their decisions and actions, whether consciously or unconsciously. A person who reads their definite purpose daily will begin to evaluate opportunities through the lens of this purpose. They will decline opportunities that do not support their purpose. They will pursue opportunities that do support their purpose. They will make decisions that move them progressively toward the realization of their definite purpose. Once a person has established a clear, definite purpose and has committed to it, opportunities, resources, and people that support the achievement of this purpose seem to appear in the person's life. People who did not know about the person's purpose suddenly offer assistance. Information arrives at just the right moment. Circumstances align in ways that seem fortunate or serendipitous. To observers who are not aware of the principle underlying this phenomenon, it appears that the person is simply lucky. However, Hill explained that this is not luck at all. Rather, when a person has a clear, definite purpose, their mind begins to filter information differently. They notice opportunities related to their purpose that other people would overlook. They make different decisions because these decisions are filtered through their purpose. They begin to approach people and situations differently because they have a clear sense of what they are working toward. The people and opportunities that seem to appear were often there all along. They become visible and accessible only when the person has clarity about their definite purpose. One of the most striking discoveries that Hill made regarding definite purpose was that people without a clear purpose almost always fail to achieve significant success, regardless of their talents, education, or circumstance. Hill examined the lives of many intelligent, capable people who had access to good opportunities yet never achieved success. When he looked closely at their lives, he found that these individuals typically did not have a clear, definite purpose. They moved from job to job without a coherent career direction. They pursued business ventures that seemed profitable, but that did not align with any larger vision for their lives. They accumulated money, but without a sense of what they were accumulating it for. They felt successful by external standards, yet experienced an internal sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Because their success had not been in service of a purpose they genuinely cared about. In contrast, Hill found that people who achieved remarkable success, even when they started with fewer advantages, typically had established a clear, definite purpose early in their life. These individuals might have encountered obstacles, setbacks, and failures along the way, but they persisted because they were committed to achieving their definite purpose. Their purpose provided them with motivation that could sustain them through difficulties. Their purpose provided them with direction that helped them navigate the many choices and opportunities they encountered. Their purpose transformed their work from mere labor for survival or profit into meaningful effort in service of something they cared about. Hill used the example of Thomas Edison to illustrate the power of a clear, definite purpose. Edison's definite purpose was to develop practical applications for electricity that would improve human life and transform society. This purpose integrated many different goals: developing the electric light, creating systems for distributing electricity, inventing devices that could use electricity. However, all these individual goals were united by the larger purpose of advancing electrical technology for the benefit of humanity. Edison encountered thousands of obstacles in pursuing this purpose. He experienced financial difficulties, technical failures, and skepticism from others. However, because his definite purpose was clear and compelling, he persisted. He did not become discouraged by obstacles because he was not pursuing success for its own sake. He was pursuing a purpose he believed in. This unwavering commitment to his definite purpose allowed him to overcome obstacles that would have stopped someone pursuing success merely for external reward. Similarly, Hill pointed to the example of Andrew Carnegie, who established as his definite purpose the building of a business empire that would generate wealth and provide employment for thousands of people. However, Carnegie's definite purpose extended beyond mere wealth accumulation. Carnegie's larger vision included the creation of libraries and educational institutions that would serve the public good. His definite purpose integrated both the pursuit of business success and the pursuit of philanthropic impact. This larger purpose gave meaning to his business efforts. When Carnegie made decisions about his business, he evaluated these decisions not only in terms of profit, but also in terms of how they served his larger purpose of building wealth that could be used for philanthropic benefit. This larger sense of purpose motivated Carnegie to build an exceptionally successful business, and also motivated him to become a major philanthropist who left an enduring legacy. Hill taught that the definite purpose has a profound psychological effect on a person's self-image and identity. When a person establishes a definite purpose and commits to it, they begin to see themselves in a new way. They begin to think of themselves not merely as a person with a job or a series of tasks to accomplish, but as a person with a mission, a calling, a direction. This shift in self-image influences all of their behavior. A person who thinks of themselves as someone pursuing a mission will approach challenges differently than someone who thinks of themselves as merely going through the motions. A person who thinks of themselves as someone with a definite purpose will be more willing to invest time in developing skills that support their purpose. They will be more willing to network with people who can help them achieve their purpose. They will be more willing to make sacrifices in service of their purpose because they understand that these sacrifices are investments in something meaningful. Hill also emphasized that a definite purpose is not necessarily tied to one's career or one's work. While for many people the definite purpose is closely related to career, a person might have a definite purpose to become an excellent doctor, to build a successful business, or to become a master craftsperson. A definite purpose can extend beyond work into all areas of life. A person might have a definite purpose to be an excellent parent who raises children to be compassionate, capable, and ethical individuals. A person might have a definite purpose to live in a way that is environmentally sustainable and to inspire others to do the same. A person might have a definite purpose to develop deep spiritual understanding and to help others find peace and meaning in their lives. The definite purpose answers the question, what do I want my life to be about? And the answer to this question might encompass work, family, service, creativity, spiritual growth, or any combination of these areas. Furthermore, Hill taught that a person's definite purpose might evolve over time. A person might establish one definite purpose in their 20s, pursue it successfully, and then in their 40s or 50s feel called to a different purpose. This evolution does not mean that the original definite purpose was wrong. It means that the person has grown, learned, and developed new understanding of what they want their life to be about. Hill emphasized that this evolution is healthy and natural. A person should remain open to the possibility that their definite purpose might change as they gain experience and wisdom. However, the key is that at any given time in a person's life, they should have a clear, definite purpose that provides direction for their efforts and decisions. Hill also taught that the definite purpose provides a framework for evaluating success and failure. Many people feel confused about whether they are succeeding or failing because they do not have a clear measure of success. They might accumulate money but feel unsuccessful because they have not built meaningful relationships. They might build a successful career but feel unsuccessful because they have not pursued their creative interests. They might become famous but feel unsuccessful because they have made the impact on the world they hope to make. This confusion results from the absence of a clear, definite purpose against which to measure success. However, a person with a clear, definite purpose can evaluate whether they are succeeding in moving toward that purpose. If their purpose is to build a thriving family business that provides employment and stability for their family, they can evaluate whether their efforts are moving them toward this goal. If their purpose is to develop expertise in their field and to teach and mentor younger people, they can evaluate whether they are moving toward this goal. Moreover, Hill discovered that people with a clear, definite purpose tend to experience greater fulfillment and satisfaction in their lives, even while they are in the process of pursuing their purpose. This might seem counterintuitive. One might think that fulfillment comes only when an objective is achieved. However, Hill found that when a person is actively engaged in pursuing a purpose they believe in, they experience satisfaction from the pursuit itself, not only from the eventual achievement. The person who is working to build a business in service of their definite purpose experiences satisfaction from overcoming challenges, from learning and growing, from making progress toward their goal. The person who is pursuing a career in service of their definite purpose experiences satisfaction from developing expertise, from making meaningful contributions, from progressing toward their vision. This satisfaction along the way sustains the person through the difficulties that inevitably arise and makes the overall journey more enjoyable and meaningful. Hill also taught that a definite purpose provides protection against the influence of others' opinions and expectations. In modern society, There is constant pressure to pursue what others think you should pursue. Family members might have expectations about what career you should enter. Society might have expectations about what success looks like. Friends might have expectations about how you should spend your time and energy. Without a clear, definite purpose, a person can be easily swayed by these external expectations and pressures. They might find themselves pursuing a path that others want for them, rather than a path they have chosen for themselves. However, a person with a clear, definite purpose has an anchor. When others suggest that they should pursue a different path, the person can evaluate this suggestion through the lens of their definite purpose. Does this suggestion support my definite purpose, or does it move me away from it? This evaluation allows the person to make deliberate choices about which suggestions to accept and which to decline. They are not simply rejecting others' advice out of stubbornness. They are evaluating advice against their own carefully considered definite purpose. Hill emphasized that establishing a definite purpose requires courage. It requires courage to decide what you truly want your life to be about, particularly if this differs from what others expect from you or what you have been told you should want. It requires courage to commit publicly to your definite purpose, knowing that you might fail or that you might be criticized. It requires courage to begin taking action in service of your definite purpose, knowing that the path ahead is uncertain. However, Hill taught that the courage required to establish a definite purpose is far less than the regret that comes from never establishing one. These people had spent their lives pursuing goals that had been set for them by others, or that had seemed practical or safe, but that had not aligned with their authentic desires and values. By the end of their lives, they looked back with deep regret that they had not been courageous enough to establish and pursue their own definite purpose. The subconscious mind, which operates outside of conscious awareness, is profoundly influenced by what the conscious mind repeatedly focuses on. When a person has a clear, definite purpose and reads this purpose aloud regularly, visualizes moving toward this purpose, and takes action in service of this purpose, the subconscious mind gradually comes to accept this purpose as real and important. The subconscious mind then begins to work toward this purpose in subtle ways. The subconscious mind influences dreams that might contain insights or ideas. The subconscious mind influences intuitions and hunches. The subconscious mind influences attention, what the person notices and what they overlook. All of these subtle influences of the subconscious mind are coordinated toward supporting the achievement of the definite purpose. People who have a clear sense of purpose tend to attract other people and opportunities that support their purpose. This is not because of any magical or mystical force. Rather, it is because when a person has a clear, definite purpose, they communicate this purpose through their words, their actions, and their energy. Other people sense this clarity and commitment. People who can help the person achieve their purpose are attracted to this clarity and want to support it. Opportunities that align with the person's purpose become noticeable because the person is actively looking for them and communicating about them. Over time, this attractive energy creates a kind of momentum where the person finds themselves receiving support, opportunities, and resources that move them toward their definite purpose. Hill used the concept of mental architecture to describe how a definite purpose shapes a person's thinking and decision-making. A person with a clear, definite purpose has constructed a coherent mental architecture within which their thoughts, decisions, and actions are organized. This mental architecture serves as a blueprint that guides the person's effort. When faced with a choice or a decision, the person refers to this mental architecture, their definite purpose, to determine which choice aligns with this architecture and which choice does not. This reference to the definite purpose happens sometimes consciously and sometimes automatically, but in either case, it guides the person toward decisions that move them toward their purpose. Hill also emphasized that a definite purpose is not the same as being rigid or narrow-minded. A person with a definite purpose is committed to a clear direction, but they maintain flexibility about the specific paths they take to move toward their purpose. A person's definite purpose might be to build a successful technology business that solves important problems. This person has a clear direction, building a technology business. However, they might pursue this purpose through many different paths. They might start by working for an existing technology company to develop skills and knowledge. They might pursue education in a related field. They might start their own company. They might partner with others to build a company. The flexibility about the specific path is healthy and necessary because circumstances change and opportunities arise that the person could not have predicted when they established their definite purpose. Hill taught that the definite purpose should be challenging but achievable. If a person's definite purpose is so grandiose or unrealistic that it seems impossible to achieve, the person will eventually lose faith in the purpose and abandon it. However, if a person's definite purpose is so modest that it does not require them to stretch or grow, the purpose will not generate the motivation and commitment necessary to sustain them through the difficulty. The ideal definite purpose is one that excites and inspires the person, that seems worth pursuing despite the challenges, but that is realistic enough that the person can maintain belief in its achievability. Furthermore, Hill emphasized that the definite purpose is not something that a person should keep secret. While a person should be selective about who they share their purpose with, avoiding people who are cynical or discouraging, sharing one's definite purpose with supportive people creates accountability and support. When people know about your definite purpose, they can offer encouragement when you are discouraged. They can offer advice or introduce you to people who might help you. They can celebrate your progress toward your purpose. This support from others is valuable in sustaining commitment to the definite purpose. A person pursuing a definite purpose will inevitably encounter obstacles, failures, and setbacks. The path to achieving one's purpose is rarely smooth or easy. However, a person with a clear, definite purpose has motivation to persist through these challenges that a person without a clear purpose does not have. The person pursuing a purpose they genuinely care about can say to themselves during difficult times, "This obstacle is temporary. My definite purpose is permanent." This commitment to persist through difficulties is one of the most powerful determinants of eventual success. Hill examined the lives of many people who achieved remarkable success and found that virtually all of them had persisted through multiple failures before eventually succeeding. Edison failed thousands of times before developing a working electric light. Henry Ford's first business venture failed. Disney's early animation studios failed. These individuals did not become successful immediately. Rather, they persisted through failure because they had a clear, definite purpose that motivated them to continue. If they had not had this clear purpose, they would likely have abandoned their efforts after the first or second failure, just as most people do. Hill also taught that the definite purpose serves as an anchor during times of abundance and success. This might seem contradictory. One might think that success would create its own motivation. However, Hill discovered that one of the great challenges successful people face is maintaining focus and direction after they have achieved initial success. A business owner who has built a successful business might be tempted to abandon their original vision and pursue new ventures that seem profitable. A person who has achieved recognition in their field might be tempted to abandon the work that made them successful in pursuit of other interests. Without a clear, definite purpose to anchor them, people sometimes abandon what made them successful in pursuit of what seems exciting in the moment. However, A person with a clear, definite purpose can resist these temptations. They can evaluate new opportunities against their purpose and decline opportunities that do not align with their purpose, even if these opportunities seem attractive or profitable. Furthermore, Hill taught that the definite purpose should be reviewed and refined periodically. A person might establish a definite purpose at age 25 and then every 5 or 10 years take time to reflect on whether this purpose still feels right or whether it needs to be adjusted. This periodic review prevents the definite purpose from becoming stale or outdated. As a person gains experience and wisdom, they might develop new understanding of what they want their life to be about. The periodic review allows the person to incorporate this new understanding into their definite purpose. Hill concluded his teaching on definite purpose with a powerful observation. The difference between people who achieve remarkable success and people who remain in mediocrity is often not intelligence, education, or opportunity. The difference is often simply that successful people have established a clear, definite purpose, and unsuccessful people have not. The successful person wakes up knowing what they are working toward. The unsuccessful person wakes up and simply responds to whatever circumstances the day brings. The successful person makes decisions that move them toward their purpose. The unsuccessful person makes decisions based on convenience, habit, or what others suggest. Over time, these different patterns of thinking and decision-making produce dramatically different results. Hill emphasized that it is never too late to establish a definite purpose. A person in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond can still establish a clear, definite purpose and begin moving toward it. While it is easier to establish a clear purpose when a person is younger and has more years ahead to pursue it, it is not necessary to have established a purpose at a young age. A person can redirect their life at any point by establishing a clear, definite purpose and committing to move toward it. Moreover, Hill taught that the definite purpose is available to any person, regardless of their circumstances, background, or current situation. A person does not need to be wealthy, educated, or privileged to establish a definite purpose. A person does not need to have successful parents or important connections. The ability to establish a definite purpose and to commit to moving toward it is available to every human being. Therefore, the path to success through definite purpose is available to everyone. The question is not whether the path is available. The question is whether a person has the courage and commitment to identify their definite purpose and to pursue it. In conclusion, Napoleon Hill's teaching about definite purpose represents one of the most important and transformative principles for achieving a meaningful and successful life. A definite purpose provides clarity, direction, and motivation. A definite purpose integrates the many goals and desires that a person has into a coherent whole. A definite purpose creates psychological alignment, a consistency between what a person consciously pursues and what they are emotionally committed to. A definite purpose attracts people, opportunities, and resources that support its achievement. A definite purpose provides the motivation to persist through obstacles and setbacks. A definite purpose transforms work from mere labor into meaningful effort in service of something that matters. A definite purpose gives life meaning and purpose. The question for every person is, do I have a clear, definite purpose that provides direction and meaning to my life? If the answer is no, then establishing a definite purpose should be a top priority. For the establishment of a clear, definite purpose might be the single most important decision that determines whether your life will be one of significant achievement and fulfillment or one of drifting and mediocrity.